Hey guys, a different video today. I just want to share with you some memorable moments at a game club that I found here in Montreal called Stack Academy. So basically, what happens here is there's a fellow that organizes this event. I believe his name is Marc Guenette. Forgive me, Mark, if I mispronounced your last name. French is not my primary language. Um, try. So here we are at the first stack that I attended, which was late December. And what happened there was, not Mark, but Dan Pacaldi from No Enemies Here organized a Memoir 44 event where we were playing D-Day. Um, I had brought my version of Memoir 44 and I hardly play it, so I gifted it to Dan because he was gracious enough to invite me to the event, show me stock as well. And he also brought MREs for everybody and soft drinks. Now, I am diabetic. I didn't drink any of those um, soft drinks, but I did have a great, we call those things, these Lebanese gyros. Uh, Shawarma, that's what it is. We had shawarma. So yeah, in Montreal, you have an eclectic choice of foods from Korean barbecue to American barbecue. Five Guys was there, but I think it was burnt down. Yeah, so that's us setting up the board. It took us about 30 minutes, finding all the units and whatnot. Here you go. Now, doesn't that look like a scene out of Hogan's Heroes? There's my hat. Where's my hat? It's right here. My thinking hat, right there. I brought it to the stack. Yeah. Uh, it is heavy, even if it's only the plastic liner. I got to get a D-Day version of that one. And everybody knows this one from anybody old enough to remember Hogan's Heroes knows what this is. I was wondering if it's real brass. It looks like real brass. Anywho, here are the gentlemen, and there's Dan on the side. And we just started the board. I'm one of these commanders. The fellow opposing me is commanding the U.S. forces. I picked the Germans. How that happened, I don't know. We have these astronaut rations with fruit and Kit Kat and some candies. A party instrument to taunt our opponents, I suppose. That would have been fun. All right, and here's the game underway. Dan is looking over at forces that are opposing him. He has just a few German units, and there's waves of American infantry coming around. Ultimately, we won because I drew a card where there was a strafing run with an ME-109. Did that actually happen in real life? I doubt it. The Luftwaffe was defeated by then, and anywho, they do offer coffee at the hotel and water, cool water. Very gracious hosts. Here he is looking over the rules. He was kind enough to bring a field general manual to everyone for the center, right, and left commanders for each team. There's other people playing other games around the different tables. And here he is having a different perspective of the board. And now Dan has gotten into painting minis. He ultimately says, we have all these minis and they're drab, either gray or green. Let's put some color on it. And he's blaming Mr. Latour. Is it Jacques Latour or John Latour? Oh, I forgot his first name. Before I was having issues with his last name. Oh, God. Anywho, he's gone all in on painting minis, and he bought himself Vallejo paints and an airbrush. Well, you can do better money-wise with, maybe AK painting. Listen, it's a miracle he found Vallejo to begin with. I see the size Vallejo collection. He's going all in. He's having fun. That's great. You know. Here's my setup. So Costa came over to Stack Academy because he saw one of my videos through Dan's channel. He looked at them, he viewed them. He says, "Well, this is a game that I find interesting." And he also saw my video about the minimalist collection of ASL, which basically, it's the core modules, three core modules, not all the core modules. At the time, I only had um, I had Beyond Valor, Yanks, and what was the third one I had? Beyond Valor, Yanks, and King and Country. That's right. And I've since acquired Doom Battalions oh geez, I'm all turning around here. And Hollow Legions. Oh, that's the area of the Second World War I want to concentrate on. I have a couple of hassles. I do have, I believe, Seigneur d'Eglise, and I am interested in Ponerie as well. Um, I'm going a little bit over the top because, as it is, I have a 45-liter container of rules, scenarios, encounters, and the question is, will I be able to play all of them in my lifetime? It's sad to think like that, but I at least I got the opportunity to sit across Costa's table, and we played Retaking Verville, which is a pricelessly exciting scenario. Uh, he already had some grasp of the rules, and I just the only thing I did is I just put them in a certain order. You know, I think every game should come with a little phase wheel. It helps players. I've designed these phase wheels. I got it off of Vassal, but I kind of took other graphics to represent the nationalities. For example, for the allies, one of the ally symbols is the American star that appeared on half tracks and whatnot. The Free French, uh, the Soviet Union, and the British symbol for the army with the crown and lion and the crossed swords, all on a red background. You know, do your own, jazz it up a little bit. So I brought him the phase field. That helped, and the other thing that helped was the um, Jim McLeod's sequence of play, and I highlighted in green all the um, items that were applicable to starter kit as opposed to the full game. And then as you read that advanced sequence of play, you kind of um, you kind of see what else can be done in the advanced game, and there's a rule reference next to it, and then there's a B for both players, A for the attacker, so you know what's going on. Anywho, there was another table where a pair of gentlemen were playing Hell's Highway. I kind of mistook it for Holland 44. I believe Holland 44 and Hell's Highway are two different games, but it was awesome. Now, the picture probably doesn't do justice to the live event. It was really awesome to see that British order of battle amass itself along the highway, and it's very challenging to make it to your objective, but it's remarkable and awesome. I must have disturbed these two gentlemen, two or three times, and I hope I get the opportunity just to sit at the table and watch the game silently, just so I can learn how to play it, and possibly buy it in a future uh, time frame, and actually get the opportunity to put it down on the board and play it. This is what I consider big board gaming because it takes, the table is about 4 by 5 or 6, and does everybody have a dining room to lay this down and play this game? I'm not sure. At Vassal, I don't like playing games like that in Vassal because you don't see the white picture, but here you see the white picture. and then that was, I think, at the end of our game turn one or two. You know, the Germans gained a little bit of a foothold. Um, Americans eventually got their forces in onto the board unimpeded. My biggest mistake was, you know, why did I not take this building here? I'm trying to press control click because I think I'm on vassal, and this one here so I can pin them out. Take, you know, narrow the lane that they could go through. Hmm. And this is towards the end of the game, and basically what this represents is that the Americans came on board and with a 9-2 leader and quite a few 747 squads. Uh, so initially, the Americans had given up some ground, but then there was a close combat here that I couldn't reinforce, and it was one. Um, Here it was one, but I was lucky enough to bring engineers on these two edges here to keep forces too preoccupied from gaining an advantage of retaking these buildings here. I was really just lucky to have won, pure luck. Um, uh, Asa's tactics and strategy were immaculate, immaculate to the end. And then there was a draw between Red Dust Rebellion and Wolfpack. I don't know why I put my name in Wolfpack. Um, I'd like to see a game where the where the U-boats are not in focus, but the Canadian corvettes were, because you know the corvettes started off as vessels that were easily sunk when hit, but they had speed, and the other thing that they had towards the latter half of the war, other than air support, were the hedgehogs and improved sonar and armament that really proved their mantle and their worth, I think, in the battle for the Atlantic. There's another fantasy game that was being played. I didn't actually ask what game it was. I didn't want to disturb everybody. Um, uh, I went to. You can imagine all the graphics, how good they are, how really fantastic art. And there were other games too, but again, um, I didn't want to disturb anybody. I was too shy. It was only my second visit. This is part of my second visit to the Stack Academy. And this fellow, his name is Stan. I forgot this fellow's name. And they're playing Scenario 1488s at Zon. And again, this is a more recent version of uh, Starter Kit. And guess what? Uh, Watching this game, even from afar, the counters were immaculately prepared, and we're playing with the dice right out of the box, not precision dice and stuff. But you know, we don't have precision dice anymore. I haven't seen any of them on stock, and that might be my fault. Nice counter trays. I use GMT trays for starter kit. Um, Here they are. You know, looking at the rule books, knowing where their weapons are. Um, have, have come up really, sorry, really close to the objective. Ultimately, I didn't find out how this game was. Now, Stack Academy, I mentioned it. Here it is. They have a Facebook page. Let me go up to the Facebook page. So it is organized by Marc Guenette. Mark, if I mispronounced your name, sorry. Carl Paradis is part of this uh, organization as well. Mark McLaughlin, my buddy Dean, Dan. Dan has showed up to a couple of meetings. As you can see, it's a big group. I guess this was probably pre-pandemic, but the community is coming back together. Um, they're an enthusiastic bunch. Um, um, Yeah, mostly Quebecois francophone, but there are a lot of people that are bilingual, right? Here's Carl giving an update here about his upcoming wargame Battle Commander. Um, here's Pax Romana or not being played. I don't know which game this is, but it's an awesome game. You know, counters, blocks. Here's somebody else that De Retour à Verville by Dominic Lazon. Tournoi ASL SE1. Dominic was probably the fellow who was playing Dan. And they probably got off 2 games, being more experienced. Really awesome. And as you can see, the German and the American player set up did a different approach, which was really fantastic. So 2 visits to Stack Academy. I do want to go back. It's really lots of fun. There's an eclectic choice of games. Do look it up, and that's pretty much it from my end. So 2 days, 2 different months. So far, so good. Maybe for 2025, I'll buy myself a yearly membership and go on a monthly basis, once a month. A little break from the monotony of playing Vassal. Sounds pretty good. Pour tous à Stack Academy, je vous souhaite un excellent mois à venir. Bonne chance et j'espère vous revoir bientôt chez Stack. Stack Montreal. Take care, guys.